Hello friends and welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host Tom Downey. Got a lot to discuss today. Some injury updates, a couple more preseason and training camp notes, and of course we're going to talk about Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper. Let's start though with Dak Prescott because everyone's still freaking out. You know what? I get it, guys. I get it. I don't blame you. The report came from Jane Slater that Prescott has asked, really his agent has asked, for $40 million. Which is insane to ask for because that doesn't make any sense. Now, I will make note, Pro Football Talk, not sure where we stand as a fan base, if we hate PFT or if we love him right now because it kind of, ebbs and flows with Florio. But they says Prescott did not ask for $40 million. No, it didn't happen. Here's the reality here, in that, first off, this is very clearly a war of leaks. Like, Jane Slater, really a leak from the Cowboys, says $40 million because they want the fan base to turn and be against Dak Prescott because they think he's asking for too much, which I get. Pro Football Talk leak from the agent says, no, we're not asking for $40 million. The old damage control there. Again, more reality stuff here because it is a war of leaks. Prescott is not getting $40 million. Do not worry. There is no way the Dallas Cowboys are going to say, you know what, Dak? Here's $40 million unless there are no guarantees attached, which in that case, probably not going to get done anyway. Now, look, we can freak out about it. I get it. It's understandable there. Here's my biggest takeaway from this. It's not even about the money because we don't know what the guaranteed structure looks like and all that, blah, blah, blah. But if the report is accurate, and I trust Jane Slater, she's a good, reporter, that's a sign to me, and this was confirmed by Yahoo Sports, by the way, today. Dak Prescott wants Russell Wilson money. Dak is not going at the Carson Wentz contract of $32 million. He's going at the Russell Wilson deal of $35. Now, when we say meet in the middle, that doesn't necessarily mean the exact middle. That could be some contracts. It's more of you meet 65% of the way for the team. Sometimes it's more of we're going to meet 35% of the team. But Dak asking for such a ridiculously high figure, that's how negotiations go. You ask for way more and come back down towards the middle. But when your reported starting point is $40 million, we're already way out of the ballpark here. We're way out of pocket. That's way too much money for Dak Prescott. This is the contract scale I put together for you guys. If Dallas offers less than 30, which they already have offered him more, that's just not going to be enough. That's just an insulting offer because of the way contract works in the NFL. Like, yes, Dak Prescott has not won a Super Bowl like Russell Wilson has. We're like 2 years removed from Jimmy G being a top 3 highest paid quarterback on 2 games worth of sample size. Or maybe more reality, 6 games worth of sample size. It's how contracts work. If you're above average, you get paid a ridiculous amount of money. 30 to 31, that's a little bit more team friendly. That plus, 30.1, 30.2 to 31, that's kind of team friendly. Still, Dak's going to say no. 32 to 33, that's still a fair offer. If it becomes 34 or 35, that's a Dak-friendly offer. If we get to 35 and above, hold up here. No. You guys know, especially if you watch the show a lot, I'm on board with paying Dak Prescott. I like that range of 31 to 33 at the most. You can maybe talk me into 34. That's a little high, but at that point, it's $1 million. What's really the difference there? But Dak Prescott is not worthy of being the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. He's just not. I believe in Dak Prescott. I think he can be a guy that can win a Super Bowl for you. But no, Dak should not be getting $35 million or more. And yes, the money will be more evened out because you have his 4th year, I should say. You can factor that in. All of a sudden, 35 with his current money for this year becomes more like, in that 30 to 31 range. But in terms of the new money extension, that's what we're talking about here, the new money, the extension value, no. Dak should not be getting 35 or more. That's way too much money. You worry about your team being in a tough cap spot, that's not going to happen. Stephen Jones has made that very clear too. We're not going to be a market setter. If you pay Dak $35 million, well, now that all of a sudden you become a market setter. That's not what the Dallas Cowboys want to do. Now, in terms of the difference between the 40 and 30, maybe it's as simple as the Cowboys said, hey, we'll give you 30, and they included a guarantee structure in there, and Dak's team said, well, with that structure, we need $40 million. I don't know what the exact number is there. Again, it's not going to end up being $40 million. Don't worry about that one there. But here's the biggest reality for me. That the numbers have leaked is a clear sign contract talks aren't going that well. If they were close, the numbers don't leak. We saw the exact same thing with DeMarcus Lawrence to the point where his agent asked to go talk about trades. That's when the numbers came out. It means for me, the contract talks between Dak and his agency and the Cowboys, it's not going that well at the moment. Still plenty of time for things to change. I kind of thought this deal would be done before the Cowboys broke camp in Oxnard, but not if Dak's asking for more than $35 million. That's just not going to get the deal done. The answer is no. You can't pay Dak $35. At that point, I would much rather wait and risk a Kirk Cousins type scenario than pay him $35 and have Dak regress and the team get worse, and all of a sudden you start with a bad contract. I'd rather play the Kirk Cousins risk, knowing it is indeed a risk. Let's move on to some injury notes here. Many of you guys commenting about it in the comment section. Thank you all very much, by the way. Amari Cooper and his injury. The Cowboys have called this a bruised heel, but I saw it first from Mickey Spagnola, saw it from Mike Fisher too. It's not really just a bruised heel, apparently. It's apparently more of a ligament issue, and if it's a ligament issue in the foot, that means it's the plantar fascia, aka if it's bruised, it's inflamed. Now it becomes plantar fasciitis, and that's not great. The Cowboys are continuing to say it's minor, it's not a big deal. I'll mostly take them at their word for it, but this is not the first time Amari Cooper's dealt with this type of injury, and it is one that tends to linger kind of like a soft tissue injury can do. Cooper had it in 2015. The good news is, he was pretty damn good his first year in the NFL. 72 for 1,000+ yards and 6 touchdowns. I am not going to freak out about this injury. I am going to update it. I will monitor it much more closely than I had been before when I took the Cowboys at their word and when they said it was just a bruised heel. Of course, technically, it is still a bruised heel, but it's not just a bruise. It's a ligament thing as well. The Cowboys are not going to rush Amari Cooper back. That's why he has not practiced since August 2nd. There's no reason to rush Cooper back to the field when it's week 2 of the preseason. It's not that important there. It means more work for Gallup and Cobb, and if Noah Brown gets back, him too. We'll talk about Cedrick Wilson as his injury update too. John V. Johnson has a minor thing that's not too concerning, just a shoulder, but it means more work for everybody else on that team. So here's my question for you then. The Cowboys triplets, they're all supposed to get new deals, and we got drama around all of them. It wouldn't be a Cowboys preseason or offseason without it. So what's the most concerning drama? Type Z for Zeke's holdout, D for Dak's contract, or A for Amari Cooper's injury. Let me know in the comment section, Z, D, or A. I see some Z's flowing in. We did put this up, by the way, on our Cowboys Report community channel. 71% voted the Zeke holdout, 21% voted about Dak's contract, and 8% voted for Amari's injury. I actually might flip Amari and Dak, to be honest, but not by much. I think that Zeke's holdout definitely is the most concerning one. As for your update on that, there is none. There's no update on the Zeke holdout. We'll just wait and see at this point. All right, some other injury updates here for the Dallas Cowboys. John V. Johnson had tests done on his shoulder. Good news, they were negative. He's day-to-day. Don't worry too much about that one. We'll get back to Brandon Knight here, but he unfortunately has a pretty significant injury. He tore the plantar fascia in practice last week. It's a multi-month injury. He could be an IR candidate. Dalton Schultz is out right now with an ankle, not going to practice today. Blake Jarwin dealing with a foot sprain. The good news is he's going to be limited today in practice. That appears minor. Dallas is going to be cautious. Looked pretty good in the passing game in week 1 of the preseason. Limited today means there's a chance he plays in week 2 of the preseason. Cedrick Wilson, meanwhile, after again a promising week 1 showing, he is in concussion protocol after that hit against the 49ers. We'll see if he's able to go. I don't know. Concussion, more so than like any other injury, it's a giant guessing game because it affects each player differently. So we'll see. As of right now, I don't think you'll see him in week 2 of the preseason. And then finally, Luke Gifford. Again, I don't know what happens here with him because it's a multi-week high ankle sprain. He's going to miss the rest of the preseason, probably some in-games. So 2 options that come to mind for me, either, I guess 3 options. A, Cowboys keep him on their roster, which is where he was trending towards, and bring him back after he misses the first few weeks. He could be an IR to return type candidate, bring him through roster cuts and then place him on IR. or you try and IR stash him now, knowing that's going to cost him the entire season. So we'll see about Luke Gifford. That one is worth monitoring. If I had to guess right now, knowing a lot can still change, I think I'm actually going to lean towards him getting through roster cuts and then being placed on IR, and the Cowboys possibly bringing him back to return, 6, 7, 8 weeks into the season. All right, guys, please subscribe to us here on YouTube. We'll do more preseason watch parties. We'll do training camp updates, regular season game watch parties, news, rumors, all kind of stuff. Get us to 50K. Help me get more money. Get us to 50K. I'd appreciate that quite a bit here on the Cowboys Report. Moving now to some preseason camp hype, because it's really not going away. That's Tony Pollard. Jerry Jones says Pollard can carry the whole load. Also phrasing, Jerry. Pollard didn't make a big impact against the 49ers, but the Cowboys' value of Tony Pollard is very clear. They are excited about him. Here's the quote from Jerry Jones. I thought he had a good showing of himself. Also phrasing. He looks confident out there. We know he's inordinately understanding of what it is he does and can do. A lot of the praise for Pollard, by the way, as I get away from the quote, deal with it, I guess, has been of his ability to quickly pick up the offense there. We've seen him do it. We know he's capable of it if he really needs to carry the whole load. He's really right there with Alfred Morris as RB2. Morris didn't play in week 1 because the Cowboys also know what they have with him. Jackson, Weber, and Chun are all kind of playing for that secondary role there. I will make note, though, and this is a serious question. Would the Cowboys be hyping Tony Pollard up as much if Zeke was here? I don't think so. Yes, I know the Cowboys are excited about Tony Pollard, but if Zeke was here, I think you'd be hearing a lot less about how great Tony Pollard is, how he's already a draft steal. Like, okay, he's at 4 carries. Let's pump the brakes there just a little bit, but enjoy the hype because the Cowboys themselves are the ones behind it. All right, if you guys like to bet on sports, and by the way, I hate to say it, but bet against the Cowboys in the preseason. They're not a good team. That's the reality of the preseason there. Head over to chatsports.com/Cowboys and use promo code GOCowboys for a 100% deposit bonus. Put down $50. They will match it for you. That is the best betting deal out there and only for you Cowboys fans. Let's move now to Taco, who kind of weird comments here. Look, he has made it clear he knows and he sees your tweets. He knows what you're saying about him. But he also kind of said a couple of weird things that I'm like, unusual. So here are the quotes, all right? Taco says, me and my agent got our talks. We hear a lot of things. I go out there with the same thing each time. I try to be the best player in the field. My mentality never changes. I try to dominate the guy I go against. I try to make plays for this team. That makes sense. That's kind of what you want to hear. Like, okay, he's focused. He's locked in. It's the second part that makes you go, wait a minute. We know my value and everything's good. We just prepare for any situation, me and my agent. I don't know what is going to happen. I am here right now working with this team. I'll show up every day to work hard. You got to play smart. My agent sets the mentality. He lets me know what needs to be done. That's weird, right? I'm not the one who thinks that. That's kind of a weird quote by Taco Charlton, and it makes it seem like, and the headline from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram was, I thought a little over the top, but the headline was, is Taco looking to leave the Cowboys? I'm not going that far, but it would appear to me that Taco is fully aware that he is not guaranteed a roster spot. Now, it's a little bit better because Crawford and Quinn and Lawrence are all hurt right now, and Quinn and Gregory are both suspended. But the comments from Taco Charlton, they're kind of getting a little bit too close to that David Irving, Rico Gathers territory for me, where it's kind of like, I know I'm great. I don't care where I play. It's fine. I don't have to work as hard as maybe I should. I don't think Taco's there yet, but those comments are weird to me. They're weird. So here's the question then. Will Taco Charlton make the team? I think he does, but I'll make note. Kerry Hyder looked pretty good. Jalen Jelks looked pretty good. Dorrance Armstrong's been working ahead of Taco Charlton. And Joe Jackson, too. What if it comes down to Taco versus Jalen Jelks? Could the Cowboys actually keep Jelks instead? I don't know. It's an option there. I think the Cowboys will make Taco available in trade talks in the end, near the end of the preseason. All right, some more defensive line notes here that I want to get to because we didn't really mention them in the preseason winners and losers, but they were pretty good. Daniel Wise, who I liked quite a bit out of Kansas, I think there is a chance, and a higher than you might expect chance, that Daniel Wise is being groomed to be the next Tyrone Crawford, because the Cowboys have used him at defensive end and defensive tackle. Now, much like Crawford, he did a lot of the dirty work in the preseason, kind of taking on blocks, setting up other guys. Doesn't show up in the stat sheet, can even be tough to see live or even on just pure game film there, but he played pretty well. Not necessarily this year, but the Cowboys, I heard, had a 4th round grade on Daniel Wise, which is what I had, by the way, on him. So maybe the Cowboys find a way to put him on the practice squad or even go extra deep at D-line. I'm not sure, just making note of that. All right, now this question is different, so just bear with me here. But today is National Filet Mignon Day, or as Mitch would say, Filet Mignon Day. Now, how do you guys cook your steaks with that in mind? Let me know in the comments section. How do you cook your steaks? There are a couple of good answers. The one answer that's not acceptable, though, is well done. That's gross. You cannot cook your steak well done. That means you're being wrong. All right? Medium rare, that all makes sense. Well done? Absolutely not. All right, one last news rumor item here for you. That's on Ricky Walker, who has impressed of late. Had a good showing in the preseason. Really helped free up Jalen Jelks for the actual sack that he made. Walker had a big role in that. I liked him coming out. The problem is, that's why I only got a 7th round grade from me, he flunked his arm length test 29.25 inches. We rip on Connor Williams. Ricky Walker really got to 29. So for Walker, that kind of killed his draft stock. I think he could be a practice squad guy this year for the Dallas Cowboys. He is better as a pass rusher than he is a rusher. So I am very curious to see what ends up happening with Walker. The issue for both him and Daniel Wise is if you keep Crawford and Woods and Collins and Hill, that's already 4 guys. Covington might be your 5th. I don't know if you're going to end up getting there to 6. So that's your update there on the defensive tackles for the Dallas Cowboys. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.